Welcome to Straight Out Savannah. I am super excited. My guest David Murky is here, and he is going to share a little bit about who he is, what he does, and how he can help you. So, David, take it away.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I am a former trial attorney from New York City, and I practiced law for about 10 years. I knew early on that really wasn't my life path. But as people get on in careers and do things, you have kids, you get a mortgage, you get stuck. I saw people ahead of me in their careers, older than me, and I saw what was waiting for me, and it didn't look good. So I had the opportunity to leave law after about a decade and move the family out to Arizona 20 years ago. That has put me onto my current path. I started a new business, things were going well, and then some unforeseen things happened with some of the companies I was in business with. That led to me being involved on the unfortunate side of a legal case for a number of years where I ended up getting sued for $79 million.
Ooh.
And that was completely unknown territory to me, especially as a lawyer. I had no idea really what to make of that. But ultimately, I basically had lost everything I had worked for, everything I thought I was, your whole identity. It's like basically a crisis situation. And it went on for years. It was something that I couldn't really extricate myself from easily, and it took a long time. So how do you live day to day with a situation like that, knowing that there's all kinds of unknown hanging over your head and you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring? It's a fight or flight situation, and you've got fear. And then that developed into significant anger toward the people that I saw putting me in that situation. That did fortunately resolve after 6.5 years. I was left totally scarred, lost, and broken from that situation. Although the case itself resolved, and I'll say favorably to me in that I didn't know anybody one penny out of the 79 million, and I had no adverse impact from the way the case resolved. But it was more like, okay, we're finished with you. You can go your way, we'll go our way, and good luck to you. Anybody who's been through a situation like this, which I'm happy to say is very few, we all go through these different things. And so that I didn't know how to really deal with that unresolved anger. A couple of friends of mine in my larger friend group came to me and said that they had heard about this thing called ayahuasca. And I want to sit with them with it. And so we started to look into it and research it. And it took some time. And after a number of months of serious investigation, we decided to do it. That goes back to February of 2017. Interestingly, on my new path is a year that I understand from several unrelated sources was a time that a lot of people in the collective, let's say, got awakened in different ways. Do you know about that date in particular?
I just know that in that year, it was another one for me. I believe that we continue to have awakenings.
Right.
We grow.
Yeah.
Another one. I call them tower moments.
I'm a former attorney. I'm still a licensed attorney, but I no longer practiced after I moved to Arizona. I had never tried a psychedelic substance in my life. I really didn't do anything up until that point. And so this was like a very far reach for me. Looking back now, I know that there was a purpose behind it, especially bringing someone to it that had no experience at all. It was a magical experience for me. It was one night in the desert in Tucson. You live there.
Yeah.
This was off the grid, like absolutely out in the desert. And there was a makeshift structure. And you're sitting there saying you're going to sit with 15 strangers, some helpers. You're sitting in a circle and it's okay. It's your turn. Drink this. And it takes a lot to give up that kind of control and have that kind of trust. Fortunately, I did. And it really was a lifesaver for me because I came face to face with the people that I had identified as really bringing this harm upon me. But instead of the usual anger that I was harboring, I got to step outside of myself and look at these people. And instead of feeling the anger and resentment, I was able to see and feel what it was like to be them and what they were going through in their lives that enabled them to put themselves in the situation that ultimately I got into. And how is it that they could do these things to other people? And I got to feel compassion for these people for pain that they were feeling. To be able to step outside of my own anger and feel compassion for people that were causing me pain was something that I had never experienced before, but it was such a gift and it lightens my heart so much that I was freed from this burden of anger, which I understood was something that I was imposing on myself,
Yes.
and that I was free to put that burden down. And
Yes.
so I knew from that moment that a lot of the pain and things that we carry, we do so out of habit and being passive in the way life comes to us,
Yeah.
but that we don't have to do that.
Mm.
And so I was able to put that down and basically step into a new life. It took some years after that, but had gradually taken me on my current path, which is to learn about other plant medicines and other healing modalities, then integrate that ultimately into my current business and my personal path in life,
Yeah.
and to be able to use these medicines and learn what they give you and offer that to other people to tell them, hey, this is what I have learned. These things are out there for you as well, no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is. If you looked at me, I'm a Jewish lawyer from Philadelphia and New York, and now I'm out here in the West, sitting in the desert, drinking ayahuasca, talking about healing. This is nothing I could have written for myself, but I've seen this gift of healing is so powerful that now I want to bring that to everybody who is open to hear it.
Yes. I get that. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Sitting with the mother, ayahuasca, I have been wanting to do this. Oh.
Yeah.
And I told my husband that it's time that we go do that. I know everybody that I know that has done it. I actually read Will Smith's book just recently. It was so good. And he talked about that. He went and experienced ayahuasca. He said that, and he's the same. He said he didn't even drink. He didn't do substances or anything, no weed or nothing. I was like, what? But he said, well, when he did that, it was amazing. We went back and did it 15 more times.
I don't have that many under my belt, but I have a few and they're all very memorable. And then I branched out into other medicines as well. In Washington, a very progressive state, you have Oregon that has brought on legalized psilocybin mushrooms.
Yeah. But they're still hard to find people that I think they're just so used to being underground.
Yeah, so there's a transition, and people have the choice now whether they're investigating these things. Of course, there are a group of people who will feel more comfortable with something being totally above ground and legal and licensed. And then there are other people who still are into sort of staying with the underground where these things have been taught forever. And I'll say that there are wonderful people on both sides of it. It transitions, things are becoming legal. You have Oregon, you have Colorado, you have other states, including Arizona, which traditionally is a very conservative state, but
They were legal when we were there. Right before we left or right after they voted it in for totally legal. I had a medical card when I was there.
for marijuana, right?
Yes.
So why would a state like Arizona get behind this and now considering MDMA and psilocybin?
Because those things really help people. You're not going to be popping Molly all the time. I've never actually used Molly, but I did ask my children who are higher.
Right. Molly is such a heart opener and it's so healing in its own right. People, of course, know it because been the party drug 80s to 90s and continues like the rave drug.
Even
And certainly it is. So people are surprised often to hear that it has this really powerful healing ability when people use it in these
correctly.
to really take an inward journey, most often and best if it's guided, at least at the beginning, by people who are really experienced in the medicine.
Yes.
It can be used in conjunction with other plant medicines to improve or deepen that experience. These are things that I exposed myself to. COVID was a really great time for that because the world stopped. Out of all the horrible things that we experienced during COVID, we did have the benefit of being able to experience things that we probably will never have that kind of time in our lives again.
Said that.
Yeah.
It felt so, to me, COVID was an expander because we couldn't go to the movies, everything was shut down. You had to be with yourself.
And so it was such a magical time in a lot of ways. And so I use that to expand my experiences with different plant medicines like Molly, like mushrooms, like LSD, dimethyltryptamine, which DMT, and a couple of forms of DMT, which is the main active ingredient in ayahuasca. Certainly, it's not the whole part of the medicine at all. DMT experience separately is it's not ayahuasca. And so it's a different experience. But they all have their own ways. There's a lot of crossover in those compounds, and then they have their individual parts to them. So that really set me on the path to investigate their legalities, use my legal background to figure out a new path and how I can bring this to people who are increasingly waking up. It's not for everybody. My wife is not participating in any of this. I tell people that to establish some credibility and say that my own wife doesn't do this. It's not for everyone, but for people that are thinking about it, you will know. My message to these people is you're going to have doubts. You're going to have people that give you doubts. You're going to have your own self-doubt. You're going to have fears built around these experiences.
Yeah.
And these are completely legitimate and they won't go away. It's a healthy human reaction to be a little resistant. The human condition is to be a little fearful of these things because they bring about such a change in your consciousness, in the way you realize or thought you existed, fundamentally who we are as people and who you are as an individual and what your place is in this world. And so that kind of change can be threatening to the ego and to your physical body because that's who we are. But what I've essentially taken out of this is that we are a lot more than our physical bodies.
Yes.
And we are really spirit beings having this wonderful human experience that can be really hard at times,
Yes.
but we're here to learn things in the earth school. It comes from a lot of teachers and people that have these experiences. And when you look at it that way, you realize that I've had experiences now knowing that I'm never going to die. And I think that's such a comforting thing. There was some podcast relating to a movie. I don't know what it's called, but these aliens come down basically. The interesting thing was these aliens knew exactly the date of their death. Our initial reaction is to say, oh my goodness, I would never want to know that. How could I live knowing where my end is going to be? The really interesting part about this was that the aliens had the exact opposite view, where they were comforted knowing when that was. They didn't know how to deal with that. And so you can see they're equally scary and unnerving to people not knowing it. Now, of course, we're in this situation where we don't really know. My view on that is you don't know. So you really have to value every second of every day as being God-given and wonderful. Now, do I do that? No, I don't. Because I'm not perfect. I espouse these things, but I'm human too. I like to say to everyone, I'm on the same path. I've got the and the same things creep up. So
That's how I can talk to you because I deal with these things.
so what I've taken from that is what I have amassed for myself through my experiences are tools in a toolbox and able without the ego that I used to have to say, that's a thing that I continually do that's really not great. This is the way I react to these things, and there's a better way to do it. So now when I catch myself falling back into old routines, I pull out the toolbox and I say, don't have an ego about this. Recognize that you're not perfect and you're doing this thing. And now you have a tool that shows you how to stop that thing. And then over time, if you can change behavior and make the effort and just try to improve yourself, then don't worry about the times you fall back into the old patterns. Just try to get out of them as quickly as you can. And you're better and happier for it. Just go about the day realizing that this is a magnificent experience, although every day brings unknown things and things are going to happen to you and people are going to do things to you. And you're still going to go through these things, but has it changed you? Has it helped you to improve so that you do this with a little more grace? And that's all we can really ask. And so that's what I'm trying to offer to people.
That is so powerful. Do you do more private sessions or group things?
Thank you for asking that. Some people in this space will know Billy Carson. I'm working with Billy Carson. We've done some podcasts together, and Billy will take people around the world to sites like Egypt, which he's done for decades, I think already,
Yeah.
but a lot of other places too. And but he hasn't done plant medicine. Now, he had recently talked about on a podcast that we did that I featured that on the front page of my website. So the
Yeah.
name of my company is Sabonic. He did have an experience recently that was really life-changing for him. He talks about things from childhood. He was able to look.
When I watched him, I thought, if he would do some plant medicine, he would go way to the moon.
Literally and figuratively to the moon. When we talked, we said, let's get into this together and explore this and give people experiences now where they can do these things and use his massive following. He's got millions of followers across platforms.
Watch him on YouTube.
And he's great. And
Watch for somewhere.
he's got so much going on, so much experience and wisdom. So I said, look, let's put this together. Now we can expand it and do this together. He might want to go public, and he's relying on me in part. Sabonic is a microcap public company. We're the first public company getting into experiences. We're doing a small event here in Phoenix featured around ketamine, principally because ketamine is legal. And so
that's another one.
It's not a traditional psychedelic, and it's not a psychedelic at all. It's an anesthetic, but having used it a few times myself, it does have crossover experience with other traditional psychedelics. It really does have its place in this broader family of medicines that have been helpful to a lot of people. It's got a head start because it's legal. And we're seeing that's changing internationally. You can have great experiences with ayahuasca, but it doesn't have that legal stamp, although there are some groups that have exceptions. They get exemptions. Mostly, you're going to have to find a trusted source, whether that medicine is in ayahuasca or mushrooms, and you can have these experiences, so domestically or internationally, and they're falling into all kind of price ranges. So I think there's an appropriate, yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Please, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, so do you, because I had heard that you should go to Peru or Mexico or somewhere down south and do it. But I want to do it. Me and my husband. So I was looking for some place that was trusted.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. We had scheduled a retreat in Costa Rica. You definitely want a trusted place. But traveling internationally, the cost is big. These retreat centers are usually very expensive. And that doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get the best experience or the best one for you. When I did this 10 years ago, the night of ayahuasca that changed my life cost me about $150. It's a little more expensive now, but it's thousands of dollars.
People can reasonably do it, especially now with the travel.
Absolutely. And if you're, no matter where you are, just about in every state, there are really schooled, committed practitioners who have been trained, oftentimes in South America, where the traditional ayahuasca comes from, but now they're offering it in a town right near you. And that doesn't mean that they're not trusted either, even though the legality of it is certainly in a gray area. So I would say you definitely do your research and see if people have experience and if there are reviews like you would look at anything else. Although you can have a very deep experience in the Amazon or South America or in Mexico where these medicines have been used for thousands of years. And there is a very special component to it when it is done in those locations. However, you can have a magical, life-changing experience to put you on your path where you are. And so don't put it away just because the travel is not practical or the cost is not practical. There is a solution near you. And that's my message. Get out to people. You certainly don't have to do it with me. You don't have to travel to me. There is something more likely than not very close to you that's affordable.
That's good to know because it feels like a next level type of thing. You know what I
I
mean?
did.
I did some mushrooms, and when I tell you, it was almost overwhelming how, like, I had my gifts. It almost looked
Oh,
every
yeah.
single one of them opened up at the same time. It was
There yeah.
overpowering, but
There's nothing more powerful in the psychedelic sense than mushrooms. So when people say you jumped right into ayahuasca, I wouldn't really put it in those terms. Mushrooms are as powerful as it gets. The insights that you get, you just have to be sure you're doing it with the right people, someone who's got experience. The terms used very broadly in this area are set and setting, right? That your mindset is right and that the location is right, that you have a teacher who's right. If all those conditions are there, I think those are the makings for a really transcending experience. You have to be prepared, especially when you're doing this for the first time. You don't do it alone, right? There are
right.
people that walk you through it. They're really powerful substances. The most powerful thing about it is that you have a sense, even if you can't explain it, that, whoa, there's something more to me than this physical body. There's something more to this world than the things that I normally thought were the 3D environment that I can touch and feel around me. There's something way deeper here. And there certainly is. I can confirm that. But the point of all of it is to use what you learn to improve this life. It's not to escape, right? That's what people say very often. Oh, you're looking to just trip out and escape. A lot of these experiences, especially the really powerful and productive ones, are hard. They're not recreational. These substances have the ability to make you confront your stuff and not be able to get out of it. That can be very powerful. That is something that make people really afraid. When I tell people what you really want to be afraid of is the truth.
Yes.
Because when you see the truth in a way that you can't run from it, that is scary.
Those great.
Yeah, but those are the biggest opportunities for you to learn and to really improve, but it's hard. It's work. And they give you the ability to have that kind of experience, but you've got to be prepared to take the step because especially with the mushrooms, it's like a school and they're all like that. Once you're in schools in session, you're there to learn and you can't really get away. So you have to be ready.
That's so powerful. I think about that, and I think about 10 years ago, you said you were a lawyer? 20 years ago?
Really 20, yeah.
20 years ago, I'm like, okay. So how do your people feel about that? Your colleagues?
That's a great question. And when I started on this, I'm not a social media person either, but I was called last year to put my experiences in front of the camera and on social media and talk about them because that's really, I'm like a bridge, especially because I'm not traditionally that woo person. I had this conservative nature about me in a lot of ways. I can talk to people that come from more of a conservative background, maybe
Yeah.
people that come from religious backgrounds. I don't think there's anything in contrast between religion and the psychedelic practices. In fact, there's a lot of evidence that traditional psychotropic substances were part of organized religions, Christianity and others. The blood and the wine of Christ were actually psychedelic substances. Over millennia, we've suppressed these substances mainly for control. Once the powers that be know you can have a connection with higher consciousness, that erodes the traditional control features we've been exposed to in our society. Religion, as good as it is also a part of that. This is a way that you need to act. Here are the rules of our religion. And so they put us in boxes where the psychedelics open that and say, hey, it doesn't matter what your religion is. Those are wonderful. Bring that on in and use that experience because that's who you are. And then learn how to expand your consciousness in that framework. I then started this YouTube channel called the Meru Sky, which is an interesting name and how I got the name. It comes out of a psychedelic journey itself. I'm talking to people about what ayahuasca is like, what acid is like, and mushrooms. And then the second part about it is what have I learned from it? What are the lessons? And how have I employed them to make my life happier? When I was getting into this, my wife, my family, colleagues, people were saying, hey, people are going to think you're crazy. It's going to negatively impact your business. All of those things are normal and responsible things to consider. I just got to the point in my life where I realized I'm on the right track. This is my path. and I really don't care about personal opinion. What I really care about are the people that are awakening and the people that I can help. The other people I'm not concerned about. God bless you. If you're listening and you have questions and think this might be for you, then I'm your guy. And I'm going to talk to you about these experiences. There are people that I can help, and that's my calling in life now. There's nothing more satisfying to me than seeing someone get opened up by a psychedelic journey and know that now they're on the path and that they've seen something they've lived their whole lives not knowing was there. Nothing's more rewarding than that. Nothing. So
Didn't think of anything. That's powerful.
it's more powerful than anything you can experience to bring that joy and peace to somebody who knows that now they're an everlasting being. How do you really compete with that?
You can, and at the end, people are looking for that.
Of course. And there's nothing provable in this. Just like in your religion, there's nothing provable. You have a faith in it. In the psychedelic process, you have an experience. People then can say that's just a hallucination and all the things.
Yeah.
But that always comes from people that have never had the experience.
Okay, so it's almost that thing where, people that have never had children
Yeah.
will tell you all about how to raise yours. And you're like, maybe it was a past life, that kind of thing.
It's for the people that are looking to be opened. Those are the people that is for, because, and this is not to be forced on anyone. If you feel like, I think this is part of my path, it's open to everyone. You will find yourself in a ceremony with people of every different age. You have men, you have women, you have people who identify as anything and everything. You have all the races. And the one common thing that comes out of it, really, if I can draw some commonalities, is that you learn that we are all God's children. And you don't have to put even that in the traditional religious context. Talking to anybody, I do believe there's a higher power. I do believe there is a universe. I have seen and experienced miraculous things. And I know that we are all tied together up in heaven, whatever term you might want to put to it. We all come from there. We are all going to there. And that should be really comforting. But more importantly, we are each other's keeper. We should be looking out for each other. If you do a good deed for somebody, even a total stranger, you are doing a good deed for the universe.
Yes.
That will be very satisfying. When you help another person, it's a very rewarding thing. That's who we are. That's one of the main lessons I've taken from it, and one of the things that kind of just keeps me going.
If you were to encounter someone who similar to you, like maybe they were a doctor, a lawyer, psychiatrist, whatever,
Yeah.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they got the call. They said, hey, enjoy this. What I really want to do is I want to go and do readings, or I want to go and learn human design or something like that. So what would you tell them?
I've been asked this a number of times. And if I simplify it, of course, there's no simple answer. Myself, I didn't make that jump out of law and move across the country. I went through this whole tumultuous experience. I didn't make that just willy-nilly. There are practical realities, right? You have kids, you have families, you have bills. You can't say, I think I'd like to do this thing, but how am I supposed to make that jump? You do have to do it responsibly, and it's harder for some people than others. But when you recognize everybody here has a purpose, a God-given purpose, and we're all here to do different things. That's the beautiful thing about the world. We're all endowed with specific gifts that we can bring to the world and bring to other people. And if you're not happy in your life and what you're doing, it's fundamentally because you're not living your purpose. More people than not, if you ask them, if you could put all the challenges and doubts aside and you were guaranteed success at the thing in your heart you knew you really wanted to, do you know what that thing is? Most people would say, absolutely, I know what that is. Then that's your purpose. Now, once you know that, how do you go about achieving it? If you can't do it today because you've got a job and all the things, is there one thing you could do today that would take you one step closer to that?
Yes.
Is that something you need to break off a little time for on the weekend or after work at night? Do that one thing, and then do that second thing. Little by little, if you stay to it, life will change in ways that you could never foresee, because we're not given that gift of sight and what God or the universe has laid out for us.
No,
But
we're
we
doing it for other people.
That's way easier. Of course it is. Of
I can
course.
see theirs. I can see hers. And like,
Right.
what am I supposed to do? Which what universe or whatever you want to call
Exactly. But we don't have the power to make changes and figure out how to get from A to B. But if you take some action, and this world is comprised of action. I always say this is the Earth School. This is a physical place. We're
Yes.
non-physical beings, but we're having this physical experience. And we all know what that's like. It can be rough and tumble and hard and all the different kind of things life throws at us. So what you need to do is just have the faith that if you take those couple of steps to the thing that you know you were meant here to do, watch out because the universe will reorganize all kind of things to bring you to that peace. And it won't be overnight. Sometimes it can take a long time. And that's why people lose faith because it's easy to start things, very hard to finish them. But if you just do it little by little and don't demand too much of yourself, because that's what gets people to quit,
Yes.
right? If you
Yes.
can do it little by little, be okay with it little by little, and then put yourself in that really good feeling of excitement like a child. It's really about getting back to being childlike more than people know, because children don't have these limitations that we put on ourselves once we grow up and we think we're all schooled and we get out into the world and we're responsible and we have bank accounts and law degrees and all this other junk, right? We lose that childness, that childish kind of excitement about us. And that is exactly the energy, the frequency we need to put into the world. And then the world responds to that frequency. If that transition you're trying to make out of the thing you don't want to do and you're not happy with is by little progress over time, try to get yourself in that feeling and energy, the vibration of excitement, and then watch what happens.
I can say that is amazing because that is exactly what I have done. I also used to be a nurse,
Great.
and I have not done that. It's been over a year now. So it's been amazing, but it was time. But I didn't plan anything. I didn't even know what to do, but it came, everything worked out like you, get my license.
But look at the gifts, like you're a healer, obviously, right? So the way you decide to go about that may change over time, but essentially you're a healer. And then you did that for quite a while, I'm assuming, right? And so now maybe you want to change how you do that. And so I feel like in some way I'm not traditionally a healer like that, but I've had healing. I make no claims whatsoever, but I have experienced in a very small way that light. And I know that is available to everybody. I have nothing to do with it. I have just seen it. If you're interested, I can point you in a direction where you can find it as well. So it has nothing to do about me. It's just I've seen the path. And if you're looking for the path, it is open to you. You will find it. And that's what I'm here to do.
That is so powerful. Oh my God. Yeah. I could talk to you all day. And then this play,
Yeah, of course.
if there
Yeah.
was anything in the world that you could change, what would it be and why?
So this gets back to, I think that again, we're these magnificent soul beings and that each of us is a point of light from God and the universe. What I would change is I see too many people going about their day, getting onto the subway or the bus and getting to the job and punching the clock and going through the mundane things and being unhappy. People have hard lives frequently and we're limited by things. I've got this job I don't like. I don't make enough money for this and all the different things. What I would change is this realization that if you can go about your day, especially when things get tough, and know and understand that in each of us, you are God. At the individual level, you are God. You are this one point of light, but you are also the entire universe. If you think you're limited or that people are better than you, or that you see people on social media and television and the movies and they're famous people and rich people and they're actors, fundamentally, you are exactly the same. And so what I want people to know is you have unlimited value. You are the entire universe cooped up into this one little person. But inside that, you are everything. Just go about your day and know that.
I have not gotten that answer once.
Okay.
That was great.
Okay.
I've had probably, I think, over 200 interviews,
Wow.
and I've not ever heard that. So that's amazing because I always look to hear if that's the same as any of the other ones. I think I only got something 3 times the same. But otherwise, everybody says just different. And that was perfect because
Well,
that's what we need in this world.
so I'm glad. I hope that resonates with at least somebody out there. If you could change one person's day or get to one person, then you're getting to the universe.
So, David, let the people know where is the best place to connect with you.
Sure.
And if you
Yeah.
thing that you're pushing out or programs or whatever.
Yeah. My channel, the Meru Sky, MERU on YouTube. I'm on TikTok and Instagram, but the long form content is easiest to see. And then, of course, the shorts and everything. YouTube has it all. And we are putting out this, it's a very small retreat in Phoenix, March 4th to the 7th. It's based around ketamine. We have a doctor, so it's legal and very safe and being administered by very experienced people. So it's going to be under 10 people because it's a very intimate experience and we want to give people the most time and attention. This is great for somebody who's never had a psychedelic experience because it's a little lighter than if you just jump into ayahuasca or psilocybin. So I think it's great for anybody and everybody, but especially first timers. If anyone's interested, you can reach out to me through the company or media at syncinc.com. Maybe we can put that in the notes with the contact information. Hurry up because we're getting on the ball with Billy Carson and we're looking to sell that out. There's not much time as we're coming up into February, but again, that's March 4th through the 7th. It's going to be wonderful. We've got a beautiful residence. Everything is done within there. So all the meals and and the lodging is all taken care of. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So it's going to be a great experience and hope to see some of you there maybe.
You're going to probably sell out really quickly if you do it.
I hope so. Yeah, that's the
Beautiful.
idea, right?
That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. I would
Yeah.
love to do that. We will be in Tennessee. When I heard you saying, I said, let me write that down. We would drive down there.
And by the way, for people that might have some people in their group, to make it even more economical, if you have a group of people, like a few friends, 3, 4, usually the ideal is about at least 4 to 6 people that might be interested. We can set these experiences up really a la carte. So if you're more comfortable with your own group, we can certainly do that. Just reach out and we can set something up that's really customized.
Sounds good. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Y'all here there and he can customize the experience to you.
that's what it's about. You again. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to your people. I really appreciate it. And that I'm doing the thing now that I want to do, right? So that puts me in my excitement. So I'm doing what I'm talking about, and that's what I'm telling everyone else to do as well.
I always tell people I live the mission. Most of the things I talk about, I've already done, or I'm doing, or I'm researching, and I'm taking you on the journey. So I'm like, oh, so good. But I probably have to bring you back in another year or so.
I would love to.
Because
Absolutely.
I know things are going to be different for you. I can feel it.
You can feel it? Okay. That's exciting. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm excited too. So it'll be interesting to see what the year brings.
Yeah. That is so cool. All right. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. This has been such an amazing show. I've enjoyed this brother so much, and he is doing such beautiful things. So make sure that you're following him, because to me, it feels like you're going to just expand. I mean, like you're going to blow up. All of a sudden, it's, dang, I interviewed him. Oh, thank you.
Good. I hope so.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.